What the hell is up, everybody? Louie back here again for a card. UFC Vegas 68. Derek the Black Beast Lewis taking on Sergey the Polar Bear SPIVAK. It's also on the road to UFC finals. Not a great card, but it's a card. And let's just get into it here. 125 pounds, men's flyweight. You got TAIRA, the surging Tatsuro, taking on Jesus Aguilar. TAIRA took on CJ Vergara his last fight. And the first round, he just kind of circles around on the outside, and he trying to pull him into the hooks, trying to land the big shot. And then he gets a double to a mat return into side control, transitions to the mount, loses the transition though, but you see him going for some good positions, not just trying to sit there and ground and pound, going for some damaging blows. Then he lands a head kick and a 1-2, transitions to the double. He gets swept at the end with the head and arm, but no harm, no foul. Then in the second round, he's in and out with his feints. Then he throws a hook to a double from space, and then he's able to take his back right into the figure four, rear naked choke attempts. And then he's able to regrip multiple times, really trying to finish that. And then he baits him into the armbar submission whenever he's trying to get up. And that was that. Pretty nasty, pretty slick, pretty good win over a tough guy, CJ Vergara. And then Jesus Aguilar took on Erson Ferrer de Silva, his last fight. In the first round, he comes inside, just kind of wings some overhands, kind of wild, kind of sloppy. But then he gets pressed with some 1-2s, straight down the middle. But then he's able to, he feints a jab. Then he's able to get the double off the fence, misses the trip down, gets pancaked. Just getting a little too overzealous there. Tries to trip on the wrong side with the over-under. And then in the second round, he rushes the clinch, but he gets pancaked again. He throws up an armbar, but he uses it to get up, and then he gets a single. He's able to take him down and transition to the back from there. Then in the third round, he blitzes with some wild hooks to the double. He's able to pass, and he pulls the guillotine, and he's able to get the submission from there. So he made a conscious choice to go to the guillotine, and it worked out for him. Jesus, plus 750. Tatsuro, minus 1150. A little ridiculous, but I'm going to go with Tatsuro. He's the prospect. Jesus is coming off the Contender Series here. But, you know, that line's like unplayable. Is Tatsuro going to get a submission or a knockout? I don't know. The whole fight to go under 1.5 rounds, plus 110 flyweight. I'll take that one, but I'm going to go with Tatsuro here. Second fight of the night, 185 pounds, men's middleweight. The Iron Turtle, Jung Park taking on Dennis TIULIULIN. Should be a fun one. Park took on Joseph Holmes his last fight. In the first round, he pressures and he walks into some leg kicks and hooks, though, but he's able to catch the kick, takes his back. Multiple rear naked choke attempts, switching the grip, switching hands, but then he gets reversed at the end and gives up his back. Not a great look, but it didn't really matter because by second round, Joseph Holmes was dead tired, and then he starts jabbing in the body, gets to the body lock, takes the back with a full mount, some nice nasty ground and pound. Then he's able to get back mount, rear naked choke submission. Flawless second round for him. And then Dennis TIULIULIN took on Jamie Pickett his last fight. In the first round, he starts walking into some jabs, but then he's able to land his overhands, so take one and give one, basically. But then he stuffs the double with the wizard, and he's able to break off in the clinch. But then he gets cut off on the cage, and he's able to cut off the cage and land some hooks and some overhands, and he forces him into a firefight, makes it a little dirty. And then in the second round, he lands some body kicks and 1-2s, and he's able to cut off the cage again, do a good job of that. Then he starts landing some nasty elbows in the clinch, and then he's able to walk through some kicks, and he drops them with the clinch elbow, and then he drops them with the knee to the head in the clinch, and then gets the ground and pound TKO finish. So really nice workman-like performance from him. TIULIULIN plus 185, Jung Park minus 215. Line is a little high here, but I like Jung Park. I think he can really grind this guy out, especially in the second and third rounds here. TIULIULIN's tough. He's going to bring the fight to Jung Park, but Jung Park has no problem standing in there and trading. And I think if they do that, Jung is going to be able to outlast him cardio-wise. I like Jung Park here, minus 215, not too bad. Third fight of the night, 125 pounds, women's flyweight. Ji-Yeon Kim taking on Mandy Bohm. She took on Priscilla Cachoeira. Actually, she took on Jocelyn Edwards her last fight, up a weight class, but before that, she took on Priscilla Cachoeira. In the first round, she circles on the outside, pumps some jabs, but then she circles out of the pressure of her power shots from Priscilla, doing a good job not getting hit with those. Then in the second round, she lands some jabs and some 1-2s, and she circles out of the straight blitz from Priscilla. And then in the third round, she gets pressured, eats some straights and some hooks in a flurry. But then she lands some jabs and crosses that range. But then right at the end of the fight, like a minute left, she eats some elbows and flurries at the end. And the judges gave it to Priscilla based off of that flurry. So, and then Mandy Bohm took on Victoria Leonardo, her last fight. Not a great fight. First round, she lands some body knees in the clinch and then some jabs and kicks at range. But then she gets body locked. She's kind of stepping a little too overstepping herself whenever she's coming in to throw a cross. And then in the second round, she gets clinched to the fence. If she's stepping in to throw 1-2 again, she eats uppercut and some hooks at range, and then she gets clinched to the fence. But then she's able to land some knees to the body in that position. And then in the third round, she eats a hook off a cross, and she gets clinched again. But then she throws a 1-2, some 1-2s, lands a body kick. And, you know, nothing too exciting there. Kind of just a clinch battle, but she was able to separate and land some decent strikes at range. Mandy Bohm plus 235, Ji-Young Kim minus 280. I know it's a women's fight and you want to bet the underdogs, but underdogs don't always win. Very low level fight. Mandy Bohm just doesn't have anything for Ji-Young Kim. I think Ji-Young Kim's going to be able to keep her at range. I think Mandy's going to try to clinch with her. I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't know. I just think Ji-Young Kim's going to win. It could be a greasy split decision here, but I'm just going to go with Ji-Young Kim. Alright, the first of the road to UFC Finals, 125 men's flyweight. Sung-Guk Choi taking on Hun Sung Park. Sung-Guk Choi took on Quinn Loon his last fight. In the first round, he lands some step-in body kicks. Not too much action. Second round, he lands a leg kick to a body lock trip right into half guard. Full ground and pound, takes the back. More ground and pound from there, like the tenacity. Then in the third round, he takes the double to land some hooks. When he doesn't get it, he's just kind of shooting from out of range the whole time. I don't know if he's really trying to score, but he doesn't get any of this round. But then he shoots a bunch of doubles, but then they get stuffed and he eats a few hooks at range. Had a really good second round. I think he ran out of gas in the third round, or he just wasn't setting up his takedowns. But it's really good second round for him. And then Hun Sung Park, he took on Tenon Gasalek Chuatana his last fight. Couldn't find tape on that one. Actually, no, I'm sorry. His name's actually Top Noi Karam, I think. Sorry, I don't know. I got confused. In the first round, he eats a leg kick, and then he gets dropped with the 1-2, but he pops right back up because he's savage. And then he walks through some kicks, but then he gets a double to the back, right into the figure 4 rear naked choke submission. So, yeah, maybe a little chinny, I guess, or just doesn't care about getting hit in the face, but really good finishing ability, really good back-taking skills. Hun Sung Park minus 190, Sung-Guk Choi plus 160. I'm going to go with Hun Sung Park. I just think he's going to be able to outwork Sung-Guk Choi. I don't think Choi really has the power to hurt him. And I think his wrestling is going to be superior. I think he's going to be able to get him down. And, yeah, I don't know. I think he's going to have trouble. I see him taking Sung-Guk Choi's back at some point. It's a flyweight fight under 2.5 rounds, plus 180. That's the best odds you're going to get, so I really like that one. Next one, 135 pounds, men's bantamweight. Toshiomi Kazama taking on Rinya Nakamura. Kazama took on Kara Moeli Mama Tohedi his last fight. In the first round, he walks through a front kick, but he gets the body lock trip right into half guard, and then he's able to lace the legs. Really nice detail there. Then the second round, I land some straight shots to a blitz to a clinch, and then he battles for the wrist the whole time, really trying to work on that wrist control, not forcing the issue really. Then he elbows to an overhook trip and ends the round really nicely, gets some control there. And then in the third round, he's able to come forward with some clinches and some body kicks, and he tries a couple overhook trips, but then he's able to finally land the outside trip, but then he gets pancaked. Tough one for him. Looked like he was going to get it. But then he reverses with a deep half, and he's able to get his back. But then he gets reversed with the Granby roll. Again, looked like a conditioning issue in the third round a little bit because he wasn't able to maintain position as much. And Karamoeli, he was really trying to get off his back, really trying to reverse. Rinya Nakamura took on Shunose his last fight. In the first round, he rocks him with a left cross immediately, drops him with the knee in the clinch, and then he lands some crosses in a firefight situation. Gets double unders, then he shrugs, able to get his back standing, and then he lands knees, and then multiple left crosses, gets TKO. Really good stuff from him. He was a U23 national wrestling champion. That's a big deal for Japan. So, yeah, really hot prospect here. Didn't really need to go to the whole double legs, and didn't just go for a takedown. He's working on striking, so I like that sentiment. Rinya Nakamura minus 435. Toshiomi Kazama plus 350. I'm going to go with Nakamura here. I think he, likes to be making quick work of his opponents. We'll see how he does in the third round. Typically, wrestlers do well. But, Kazama, decent wrestling there. But I think he'll get a little sloppy in the third round. And Nakamura, with his international wrestling background, I think he's going to be able to maintain position better. than Karamoili was, and I think he's going to be able to really have a strong third round. Even if his conditioning is depleting, he could get a big takedown or get around his back and just maintain control for a third round, get a decision. So I'm going to go with Nakamura here. 6th fight, 145 pounds, men's featherweight. You got Jung Young Lee taking on Yi. Young Lee took on Luke Kai his last fight. Quick one. His last couple fights were just only a few minutes long. One by submission, one by knockout. I'm going to go to his last fight. In the first round, he jabs the range, but then he eats some step-in hooks, but then he lands the right cross over top of his jab, gets the KO immediately. Dude's got serious power. Then Yi took on Koyomi Matsushima. In the first round, he lands a cross to a blast double, but it gets stuffed. Nice attempt, though. But then he throws some step-in crosses, but then he walks into a cross himself. But then he steps in, and he gets the clinch, and he gets a trip to the back, but it gets reversed with like a shanker where Matsumisha went over his head with his elbow and rolled his body. Something you see in wrestling, so it's pretty impressive. Then in the second round, he lands some step-in crosses again from range, gets a 1-2 to the body lock, but then he gets wizard kicked. But then he throws up a triangle attempt, decent, but couldn't really do much besides that. Then in the third round, he gets a switch off to a body lock, but then he takes it back, but he's able to win the scramble. He's able to regain the position there, but then he gets reversed with the guillotine, but then he's able to scramble through and keeps going, keeps trying to maintain top position. Both guys put on a scramble fest, so good fight. Yi plus 205, Jung Young Lee minus 245. You know, if this fight goes in the second and third round, I think there's going to be trouble. You take a look on Jung Young Lee's record, it doesn't go that far very often, if at all. I'm just going to go Jung Young Lee. That power is absolutely devastating. And honestly, you know, I don't know too much about any of these guys on road to UFC. So, you know, why not hope for some violence? I'm going to go Jung Young Lee. And if you want to take the under prop in that one, wouldn't be a bad idea. Main event of the prelims at 155 pounds. Saragih taking on JUBLI. Saragih took on Kai his last fight. In the first round, he eats a checkoff hook, but then he lands a couple 1-2s and some body kicks. Then he just backs up, waits for him to come in, and lands a beautifully placed right cross. Gets a KO from hell. Very scary, to be honest. JUBLI took on Kyung Pao Kim his last fight. In the first round, he stalks, looks for some crosses, and a short hook inside the clinch. Then he lands some 1-2s right down the middle, and he starts to rip the body when he's standing there. But then he drops him with the overhand right when he's coming in, beautifully timed. Second round, he stalks with some jabs and some crosses, able to slip some hooks. Then he's able to scramble out of a double leg attempt. Then in the third round, he lands some straights to the body, but then he gets doubled, but then he gets right back up. But then he misses a cross and eats a couple hooks in return. But, you know, decent cardio and had a very good first couple rounds there. JUBLI, minus 115. Saragih, minus 105. I'm going to go with JUBLI here. I think if he can make it out of the first round, I think he's got a decent shot. JUBLI has been a finisher himself, and Saragih, he can go the distance if he needs to or go longer on in the fight. I just think JUBLI's kind of the more complete fighter. I think he's going to be able to outwork him. I think he's going to be able to keep him at bay. I think he's going to be able to get out of the way of those power shots. Very close contention fight. I'm going to go with JUBLI here. Odds are pretty close. All right, first fight on the main card at 170 pounds, men's welterweight. You got Yusaka Kinoshita taking on Adam FUGITT. Kinoshita took on Joe Souza his last fight. In the first round, he landed straight right and some hooks, and he pumps his leg kicks the whole time. Second round, he feints some jabs, then he pulls him into him, slips the cross, drops him with a left cross, jumps right on top of him, gets a TKO with ground and pound. Beautiful work there. Just kind of baits him right into there. Then Adam FUGITT made his UFC debut against Michael Morales. And the first round, he walks into a straight right, but then he gets the body lock off of a straight shot, and he's able to get the trip takedown. Back on the feet, he slips, and he slips some shots, and he's able to land a left hook, but then he eats a flurry. But all good. In the second round, he walks into some jabs, but then he lands a hook inside the pocket. Then he lands another straight shot to the body, but then he eats some hooks standing at range, just kind of standing there with his guard down. Then in the third round, he pressures, lands a left hook, and he shoots a double, but it gets stuffed. But then he eats some hooks in the clinch, and he gets dropped with the right cross. Then he gets TKO'd. But, you know, looked pretty good up until that point. It was his UFC debut. You know, I didn't think it looked too bad. FUGITT plus 270. Yusaka Kinoshita minus 325. I think this line's a little bit off. I think FUGITT is a junkyard dog. And plus 270, I kind of like him here. And Kinoshita doesn't have a ton of... Well, neither guy has a ton of UFC experience. But Kinoshita, he's kind of looking for the one big power shot the whole time. And, you know, as long as Fuji doesn't, like, run right into it, I think he'll be okay. I think he impressed a lot of people. Plus 270, I'm going to go with that Adam Fugitt here. It might be a stupid pick, but, you know, why not? You know, no guy has a big profile or anything, so. All right, second fight on the main card, 145 pounds. The return of Korean Superboy Doo-Ho Choi taking on Kyle Nelson. Doo-Ho Choi took on Charles Jourdain in 2019. In the first round, he steps into the pocket, lands some hooks and an uppercut and a jump knee. Then he lands some leg kicks and he rocks him with a check left hook. But then he drops him with the overhand right. But then he gets dropped with the left cross inside the pocket right at the end of the round. Then in the second round, he walks through, eats some rights but then he lands some kicks and then he lands a hook inside the pocket. But then he eats a front kick and an uppercut combination. He's kind of chilling out of range. But then he walks into an uppercut. And then he walks into another straight left and a right hook when he's throwing his uppercut and gets KO'd. Beautifully placed counter by Jourdain. And, yeah, Doo-Ho Choi just kind of likes to swing and bang. And, yeah, Charles Jourdain can hit pretty hard. Kyle Nelson took on Jai Herbert his last fight, his UFC debut. In the first round, he gets a single off his kick to the fence, then he lands some elbows in the clinch, pretty nasty. Second round, he lands a leg and a body kick in the clinch, and he takes him over to the fence, but then he gets reversed on the fence. But then he circles and he eats a 1-2 when he's trying to go for the clinch. And then in the third round, he gets pressured, and his double leg gets stuffed. Then he gets pancaked for the rest of the round. It didn't look too good. Kyle Nelson plus 165, Doo-Ho Choi minus 195. Doo-Ho Choi, of course, coming off that long layoff, but odds might be a little high considering the layoff, but I just don't see Kyle Nelson giving him any problems. You know, Kyle Nelson can go 3 rounds. Doo-Ho Choi, I'm going to assume, wants to get him out of there early. If, you know, we'll see how his gas tank is. But, yeah, man, I mean, I just see Doo-Ho Choi hitting him with something big. Like, you know, Kyle Nelson might be able to do a good job of defending initially, but I think Doo-Ho Choi is going to pressure him. And maybe not, but just because the guy has a long layoff doesn't mean they're not going to win. And also, Kyle Nelson is not like he's an established veteran or anything like that. It's like his second fight, not very good, respectfully. So I'm going to go with Doo-Ho Choi here. Why not? On to the featured fight of the night, 285 pounds, men's heavyweight. Got Marcin Tybura taking on Blagoy Ivanov. Should be a fun slap fest here. Tybura took on Alexander Romanov his last fight. In the first round, he gets mat returned off the fence almost immediately, and then he eats a ton of ground and pound from the back. Could have been a 10-8. I don't necessarily think so. He wasn't really hurt too bad, but, you know, got his ass beat, but hung in there, didn't give up. That's the important thing. Then in the second round, he gets clinched to the fence, but he's able to break free. Then he lands a step in 1-2, pushes him down with a knee off of his kick, and then he lands some ground and pound around the back. He gets reversed at the very end, but I think he did enough to win that round for sure. Then in the third round, he pressures forward with some jabs at range. Then he eats a knee to the body and some kicks, but he's okay and definitely pushing the action, pushing the pace, and Romanov was exhausted. And Tybura, decent cardio for a big guy. Then Blagoy Ivanov took on Marcos Rogerio de Lima his last fight. In the first round, he eats some hooks to the body and the head, but when he steps in the pocket, but then he catches a kick to the fence and then gets in the clinch situation. Doesn't do a ton, really, basically nothing, actually. Then in the second round, he jabs to the clinch, but then eats a hook combination whenever he's stepping in to jab. But then he lands a straight left right into the clinch, lands some 1-2s and a left cross up against the fence. And then in the third round, he gets clinched to the fence, but then he jabs and lands a left hook. Then he gets doubled right at the end of the round. So, close, greasy decision for him. But, you know, De Lima got some big power, so I guess he did all right, coming off a bit of layoff. Ivanov plus 115, Marcin Tybura minus 135. I'm going to go with Tybura here. That Romanov fight really proved something to me. Like, he's not just going to be going, he's not going to be pushed over by these new guys coming up. He's a tough gatekeeper for, like, the top 10. And Blagoy Ivanov doesn't do a ton. Marcin Tybura, I think, is the better wrestler out of the two, and I think his gas tank's a lot better. I'm going to go with Tybura here. It's going to be a sloppy heavyweight fight, but that line is pretty good. Minus 135. Not too bad. I'm going to go with Tybura. I like that. Co-main event of the evening, 205 pounds, men's light heavyweight. Jung taking on Devin Clark. Both guys coming off a loss, so it doesn't really do anything for the standings, but both guys really need a win here to get back on track. Jung took on Dustin Jacoby, though, who is top 15 guy, I would say, and, you know, tough out for an up-and-comer. In the first round, he lands some leg kicks at range, and then he lands a 1-2. But then he lands a right cross, but he eats a jab. in a right cross when he's coming in, and then he just gets KO'd like with one punch. So I don't know what that was about. But Dustin Jacoby doesn't really knock guys out too much. So, you know, maybe his chin isn't the best. But, you know, he looked okay for as long as he was fighting. Then Devin Clark took on Azamat Murzakanov. In the first round, he eats left hook whenever he's dipping in. But then he eats a left hook off a step-in knee attempt. And then he lands left head kick, but then he gets clinched off of there. Second round, he gets rocked with the 1-2 on the fence, but then eats left hook in the clinch. Then he gets rocked, and he kind of goes down. Then in the third round, he gets cut off on the cage, eats a jab and left hook to the body, and then he gets dropped, and then he gets TKO'd with ground and pound. Just kind of had enough. And, you know, it's kind of been Devin Clark's problem. Just like some durability issues and that, you know, Ian Kutalaba messed his jaw up in that fight. He had to get surgery. Devin Clark, plus 205. Dalton Jung, minus 245. I've been kind of going back and forth on this one. I think Dalton Jung has the skill set to keep him at range and maybe hurt Devin Clark. And I think Devin Clark's going to be looking to clinch him up. Decent wrestling background. I just don't know. But, you know, Devin Clark's chin worries me, but so does Dalton Jung's. As the fight goes on in later stages, you know, Devin Clark can definitely hang in there. It's just a matter of if he's going to get hurt or not. But plus 205, Devin Clark. Devin Clark is an underdog. I don't hate it. I know Dalton Jung is the up-and-coming guy, but I think I like Devin Clark here. I just kind of had a feeling when I heard the announcement. I think he might be able to get him down to the ground. I'm going to go with Devin Clark. Why not? Low level. It's going to get a little sloppy. Let's go Devin Clark. Plus 205. We'll see, though. We'll see if that chin holds up. The main event of the evening at 265 pounds, men's heavyweight. Derek the Black Beast Lewis taking on Sergey the Polar Bear Spivak. Scheduled for a while ago. They finally got it back together here. Now, this is a big crossroads fight because both guys kind of need a win. Sergey doesn't really, but he's trying to make his way up the rankings, and you know he's got to beat Derek Lewis if he wants to be a contender at heavyweight. Derek Lewis coming off a 3-fight losing streak, not a losing streak, but he's lost 3 out of his last 4, all knockouts, and he needs to beat Sergey to prove that he's still that guy, that he's still a gatekeeper to the top 10 as of now, that he might be able to go on one more run to the top 5 at least. And he's got to beat Sergey. If he does it, that's about it. He might get one retirement fight against an old heavyweight. But, you know, kind of a big matchup if you look at it like that for the heavyweight division. Not the biggest matchup. Still a little bit intriguing. Intriguing enough for me to watch it. Derek Lewis took on Sergey Pavlovich's last fight. We don't know how that went. He got knocked out. Okay? So, there's some damage there. But before that, he took on Tai Tuivasa. In the first round, he misses a right cross, but then he gets clinched. He pressed it forward. He landed a right cross to the clinch, and then a right underhook, and he shoots a single into the clinch, but he gets reversed, but then he's able to regain position. He gets a nice knee tap takedown. Then some heavy ground and pound, landed an uppercut in the firefight, but then he gets clinched, and he gets double over, but he's able to get the hip toss and defends a single. And then the second round, he eats a leg kick, and he missed the cross. He lands a 1-2, presses forward with some uppercuts, swinging a little wild, but he misses the inside trip. Then he lands some uppercuts in the clinch, but then he eats a hook and an elbow, and then overhand right, and then he gets clinched and gets KO'd with another elbow. So he had his moment on the ground with that nasty ground and pound from behind, but it wasn't enough. Tai Tuivasa ate all his shots, and, you know, he just kind of gave up. And it feels like Derek Lewis has, like, one big surge in him, and if that doesn't work, you know, I don't think he has a plan B necessarily. And then Spivak took on Augusto Sakai, his last fight. In the first round, eats a leg kick, but he gets a clinch to an inside trip whenever he throws, and then he gets a hip toss when he gets up in a full guard, ground and pound, gets his back with one hook in, and then he gets the headlock back on the feet, and he takes his back. He tries to go for a rear naked choke, but he follows him follows him on his knees, keeps scrambling, lands some ground and pound, but then he eats an elbow and a knee in the clinch, but then he lands a 1-2 in the clinch. And then in the second round, he lands overhand to the clinch, which gets stuffed, but then he eats a body kick and rip to the body, but then he lands a jab to the single leg, big lift takedown. Then he gets another hip toss, lands some nice ground and pound, and then he takes his back with one hook and gets the TKO from ground and pound. So, you know, Sakai, we thought he might have been a prospect, but then, you know, he lost that fight to Overeem a while ago. It just hasn't worked out for him. But still, he finished him, did what he was supposed to do. Derek Lewis plus 195. Sergey Spivak minus 230. Originally, I went with Derek Lewis because I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a puncher's chance. And nothing's really changed since then, but Derek Lewis has lost some weight, gotten in better shape. I don't know what that's worth. I don't know if that helps or hurts him, but it shows that he's dedicated. It shows that he wants to win this fight. He's not just here for a paycheck. So, if you got a game Derek Lewis, I think you got a decent shot. He's been working on his wrestling defense a little bit, and I think he might be able to catch Sergey with something. I think Sergey might disrespect him, and he might try to just take him down, might not set anything up, and Derek Lewis might hit him with a big uppercut or something like that. I mean, he landed an uppercut on Curtis Blades, for goodness sake. So, I'm going to go with Derek Lewis here, plus 195. Why not? It should be a fun, sloppy heavyweight fight. I'm going to go with the Black Beast. One more time, baby. One more ride. All right, everyone. Thanks for riding with me. Appreciate it. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that stuff. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I'd appreciate it. Let's see some upsets. Let's see some profits. Let's see some violence. Good luck, everyone. Let's stay up, and let's win some money.